Recently, I've been getting a lot of comments on my YouTube videos and Instagram posts and DMs saying, how do you curl your hair? What do you use to curl your hair? Today, I thought I would show you. Okay, so I thought I would show you how I curl my hair. I'm in the middle of filming a video and I just thought now would be the perfect time. So I'm going to take my hair out of this bun. First things first is I'm going to brush out my hair. This is a wooden brush which is meant to be anti-static and I love it. I prefer to curl my hair on day old hair, day 2 kind of hair. I just find my hair feels the softest once it's been out a couple of days. Okay, so I'm just going to brush my hair back to find my middle parting. Just brush it back and then tease my hair forwards and it starts to fall. So I don't make it a perfectly neat parting, I just make it its natural parting. So next thing I take is a hair bubble, and I like to have my hair in 2 sections. So I just brush through it so it's really easy to move, and I basically take a thin-ish layer of hair from about here, and I just kind of circle around the top, and then I just like to make sure I've got a decent amount of hair left and I've got a decent amount here, so I just separate it off in this random little bun. Obviously it doesn't matter what this looks like. So I've got all of this hair now and I'm just going to wait for my curlers to heat up. Now I've got the curlers. I never mentioned it, but I use the GHD Soft Curl Curve Tongs. What I like to do is I like to separate my hair so it's behind my shoulder, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a decent size but slightly small-ish section of hair. So I've got about this much hair, which is a relatively small section, and because this is the first section I like to curl this away from my face. So I start about here and I just curl it off, hold it for about 8 seconds, if less, but because it's just turned on I'll do about 8, and then I just drop it into my hand and let it fall. And then I will take another strand of hair, about the same size, maybe slightly thicker. This time though, I'm going to curl it towards my face. Hold it for about 8 seconds, drop it again, and it's down. So you probably get the gist, but for the next section of hair, I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. Now it's going to be getting nearer the back of my head. Just then it makes it go a lot quicker. And this one I'm going to do away from the face. And drop it. There we go. So I'm going to continue doing that for this half. So this one is going towards the face. Some of them don't turn out great, so I might go over them again, but for now, it's fine. So as I start doing thicker bits, you tend to need to hold them just a little bit longer, because at least if you've got long hair like mine, I end up having to wrap bits over bits that have already been wrapped. It doesn't matter if you do end up doing 2 curls the same way. I just prefer to do them opposite because it gives a little bit more texture and a little bit more volume. So if you have thinner hair, it will help it look a little bit more voluminous. I have quite thick hair anyway. I just like the way it gives a bit more texture. Okay, so that is the first half of the hair done. So I find it a bit more difficult to do the left side because, I mean, I'm right-handed, so I find it a bit more awkward. So again, I'm just going to take 1 strand of hair, a slightly smallish strand section, and we're doing it away from the face. So I tend to hold my curler down when it's on the left side. I find it much easier. If I ever burn myself while curling my hair, it will be while I'm doing the left side. So next section is towards the face. And as you can see, I don't start right from the top of my head. Sometimes I do, but the top of my hair doesn't hold curls at all. That is probably the only part of my hair that isn't frizzy and that stays pretty flat. So I just don't bother curling it because I know that it will drop if I do it from so high up. Okay, so that is this part of my hair done. So what I do next is I take this bit of hair and I just tie it really loosely with a hair bubble behind my head. I leave the ears covered so that I'm not then bending it behind. Just tie it around twice, really loosely. It tends to fall out near the end, but it just means that I can then work with this hair without picking up the rest of my hair. When I do the top section, I work slightly differently, and this time I keep the hair to the front and I start from the back, and then once I'm done with a section I put it behind my shoulder. Because this is the top section, I tend to do slightly smaller strands, so this will be about the thickest that I do. So now I look at this bit and I think, okay, so I'm going to want the front section away from my face in a small strand. So I'm going to split the next two bits into two. So I need to do, this is away from the face, towards the face, away from the face. And this one is away from the face. And I do this for not too long. Okay, so that's that half done. I know this looks super tight, but we'll deal with it later. So on to this half. Okay, now everything's curled, I can take out my hair bubble. And all I do is I run my fingers through it. So I've got one dodgy bit here. So I'm going to just go over that bit. So this is an away. I just try and find bits that are a little bit dodgy, go over them so that I've got pretty much even curls throughout. So yeah, either I will then leave it like this. Sometimes I find that the front looks a little bit dodgy. That is when I will take it into a half up, half down, and I find that that just solves any dodgy front bits. Sometimes it's just a bit too much, but what I will then do, if I think it's a little bit much maybe, but still want to keep it, I will kind of pull on the curls, doesn't do much. I will pop them behind my ears for a while, that tends to soften them a little bit, or I use my straighteners. This isn't something I always do, but sometimes I just like to do it on the front, and I just very gently go over the curls. I only tend to do this on the front ones. They just soften them ever so slightly. Next thing that I do is take a little bit of oil. This is the Bumble and Bumble Hairdresser's Invisible Oil, and I just do kind of 2 pumps on my hands, rub them together, and I like to pop them mainly through the ends. Well, not the roots at all, but I mean the fronts. The front ends. It just kind of keeps it feeling really, really nice. I love the feeling of it. I don't tend to use hairspray unless I'm going out on day one. The rest of the time, I just don't tend to bother. So if I'm not going out for a while and I want them to drop even more, what I would do is I will then just put my hair back and tie it in a low pony. This then keeps these front bits from staying as big, but honestly, I'm quite liking it today. I think they've done pretty well, and what I really like is for the kind of front section to then go over, so it's not quite at the front, and just go over the other bits. So that is how I curl my hair. Super easy, and that is literally it. That took me 15 minutes to do. Isn't very long at all. So really, really pleased with that. Time to turn the curlers off.
I can't breathe without your love.